looking at that booklet.
We should know that, sir.
It's on
this
the
is
website.
a way of marketing for us.
It was on the website. It was on a website. In fact, if you check it, because I downloaded from the website. But she came to the parliament, she discussed it, and I personally talked with her one day, and she said, you know, Dr. Hegazy, just look at the website, and it's there by area, by area. Especially talked about the Golden Triangle, which is on the Red Sea, actually. And then it talks also about the industries. So it is there. Maybe Dr. Rania have updated it to reflect the current situation. But I just wanted to mention this for one reason, because we did follow under the first strategic long-term planning, the 10 years.
Then what was missed? It was the direct dialogue, sir?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And then with this, this forum was such a platform to achieve this on the ground.
As you said, it was a way to market what we have.
And she also pointed out that the framework of this booklet is to achieve macroeconomic stability, regulating monetary and fiscal policy, ensuring exchange rate stability, curbing inflation, achieving fiscal discipline. I mean, she mentioned everything and in detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, great. But to take this into consideration, that this is her way to deal with them face-to-face or directly, meaning that there is a will to eliminate any obstacle on the way. How do you see the Americans, how the Americans received this, or how should say look at us as now a country which is really ready to invest or to increase the volume of investments or trade on the spot?
Well, one way of telling you that meeting, you know, a delegation to meet the president of any country, where he spoke specifically about opportunities of foreign direct investment in Egypt, encouraging and inviting these top 55 companies. And he gave the example of the U.S. company Apache, which is actually in the business of oil as well.
Yep.
So that's clear that I understand, as a head of country, head of nation, I understand, I offer, and we guarantee. I think this is by itself for U.S.
I mentioned this, sir, because she continued to say part of the state's efforts to separate ownership from management and improve governance, enhancing the competitiveness of the Egyptian economy and achieving higher transparency. I think that these terms now are very important, and they are going to be ear-catchy for any partner, whether we're the Americans or others.
Well, it's not just ear-catchy. It's obligations, and it's a must, because all regulations now talk about good governance, where there is transparency, there is you know, equality, gender opportunities. There is so many aspects that for international companies to work today, and to export to the U.S. or to Europe, they have to buy by these sustainability and good governance rules.
And
so
of course,
if the president and the cabinet have stressed that we are ready from that direction, it means that part of what you are coming to think about and ask, we are ready for it.
She also spoke about the telecommunications and information technology sector growing at a steady pace, achieving growth rates of up to 10%. And because of this, it's one of the most attractive sectors for youth and investors, mentioning also the young, skilled and competitively priced workforce.
As I told you, exactly, yeah. As I told you, you know, we are very technically, you know, educated. I don't want to say experts, but we are technically educated good enough to be on the IT industry and IT sectors. Also, I think we didn't talk about tourism, because this is one of the aspects. And bear in mind that in July we are going to opening the world's greatest grand museum on earth, and that by itself supposedly should increase our tourism, which means that also the feeding industries for tourism has to be ready. I'm talking about restaurants, hotels, lodging, accommodations, infrastructure. I think with all the improvement that we did in the infrastructure, even tourists, when they come nowadays, they are surprised, especially those who have seen Egypt before and now. You know, I think all of this is by itself, and I hope that this delegation have went and inspect with their eyes the different locations, so they can see the good infrastructure that we have today. And still, we are going and moving forward more to improve the infrastructure. This is very important for any company that come, not to export and import, but to invest directly in a given country.
Yeah, amen to that. And since you mentioned tourism, sir, despite all what's going on around us and the conflicts which are taking place on the three strategic directions around us, fortunately, we received a record of visitors coming from all over the world, and there is a strategy to receive about 30 million tourists, and we are working on that to increase the hotel rooms and to make sure that we are able to receive all of them, because simply Egypt itself is the gift of God to humanity. And when I'm saying about the gym or the Grand Egyptian Museum, it's going to be such an inauguration? No, it's going to be one of our gifts to humanity itself, because it's going to be the biggest museum dedicated to only one civilization in the whole world.
Yeah.
This is Egypt. But we made it, by the way, very hard for ourselves. What we are going to do...
What do you mean by we made it hard for ourselves?
I mean, when we had this mummy parade before, it was such an event. What we are going to add more, what we will do to impress the whole world with our civilization.
The history.
This is it.
And that's why you saw last episode with Zai Hawass and podcaster. You know, they were trying to somehow tarnish that the Egyptian civilization was made by aliens, which nonsense.
Never.
You see? So
when
you say what are we adding?
World.
No, we're adding a lot. There is a lot to be seen.
Sir, as usual, I enjoyed our discussion.
Pleasure.
And time flies. But we are going to leave you, sir, with a promise to see you again in more episodes of our program.
Inshallah, and happy Eid for you and for the viewers in Egypt and in the Middle East and in the Arab countries or Islamic countries.
And we all hope and pray to God Almighty that we are going to enjoy stability and security, not only in the Middle East region, but in the whole world. Well, I was
Bear in mind that we are always protected by God. So I don't feel any concern about Egypt.
We are blessed with being Egyptians.
Yes.
I had the honor to have with me live here in the studio my dear guest, Professor Dr. Ibrahim Hegazy, Professor of Marketing and our economic expert. Well, now I'm going to leave you with the most important economic events which took place in the past 7 days. Till we meet again same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching. This was Nermeen Abdurrahman.
The Egyptian pound has achieved remarkable performance over the past 30 days, ranking 21st globally among the best performing currencies against the dollar. According to Trading Economics real-time data, the US currency declined against the pound by an estimated 2.08% during this period. Egyptian engineering exports recorded a significant increase during the first 4 months of 2025, reaching approximately $2.1 billion compared to $1.7 billion during the same period in 2024, achieving a growth of 19%. Cable exports jumped 27%, automotive components 2%, and electrical and electronics exports 23%. Meanwhile, home appliance exports rose 3%, transportation vehicles 33%, and metals recorded exceptional growth of 184%. A government report estimated Egypt's white sugar production during the current season at approximately 3.1 million tons, a historic increase of nearly 20% compared to the previous season's production. This increase was reflected in imports during the first months of the year. Russian Deputy Trade Representative in Egypt said that we are working to establish a Russian industrial zone in the Suez Canal Economic Zone, which will help Russian companies localize their industries in Egypt. He pointed out that Russia aims to increase trade volume with Egypt by 30% by 2025 after reaching $9 billion last year. During his weekly press conference, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli said, "We want to launch a program for the Egyptian state without relying on other international institutions. We are working on developing a detailed program until 2030. For the first time, the budget will be set for 3 years. Therefore, we are looking ahead to the end of the IMF program, during which Egypt will no longer need a new program with the fund. Lieutenant General Kamil El-Wazir, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Industry and Transport, said that Egypt is working to connect the country with a railway network that connects Asia and Europe. He added that Egypt is working to expand the rail network along 7 separate axes, including 3 high-speed lines connecting the port of Sokhna on the Red Sea to the Mediterranean, Alexandria in the north and Aswan in the far south. In a move that reflects the depth of the development partnership between Egypt and Germany, Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, and the German ambassador to Egypt signed a new financial cooperation agreement worth 118 million euros. The financial cooperation agreement also includes 86 million euros in financing under the energy pillar of the Novi program, divided into 54 million euros in concessional financing and 32 million euros in grants to connect the ACWA Power 1 and unlock a production capacity of up to 1,100 megawatts of wind energy. Dr. Mahmoud Ismat, Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy, received Ambassador Mohammed Soufiane Bera, Algeria's ambassador to Cairo. The meeting addressed Algeria's desire to enlist Egyptian companies to develop its electricity grid, including the implementation of high voltage lines and the distribution network and the construction of a number of transformer stations. The meeting also addressed ways to increase the penetration of Egyptian electrical equipment into the Algerian market and to benefit from Egyptian expertise in expanding and relying on renewable energy, reducing the use of traditional fuels and reducing carbon emissions.